How do you deal with a new book idea when you're already currently writing one? That's the question I'll be dealing with today in The Right Question. I'm the publication coach, Daphne Gray Grant. I have a question from Kimberly Davis, a writer based in Savannah, Georgia. Here's what she's asked via email. I often have a fantastic idea for a new book when I'm halfway through writing the current one. How do I keep myself motivated to continue? Or do you think it would be smarter of me to switch to the new idea for which I have so much more enthusiasm? Thanks for your question, Kimberly. The idea you're expressing, that something starts to seem unworkable the more time we spend on it, applies to relationships as well. Some psychologists describe these relationships as operating on a push-pull continuum. You know what I'm talking about. One partner is very interested in the relationship and the other is much more ambivalent. But as soon as the more interested partner backs off a little bit, the ambivalent one starts to become much more attentive. Below, I'm including a link to a blog post from Psych Central on the topic. Well, exactly the same thing can happen with writers. The book idea in your head sounds interesting and compelling, so you spend a lot of time on it. But when you're stuck in the messy middle, finishing the book just seems way too hard. That's when the idea of beginning with a fresh topic sounds so much more appealing. One piece of advice in the Psych Central blog post struck me as especially applicable to writers. Psychologist Dan Newhart said, "Anxiety is the problem, so managing anxiety is the solution." To manage your own anxiety, you really need to divorce yourself from any concerns about quality. When you write, you have only one job: to write. Forget about editing. Forget about quality control. Forget about looking for an agent or a publisher. Forget about what your future writers are going to say or think. Just write. Here is some other advice to consider. Don't lose your ideas. If you have a great new idea for a book, write it down somewhere. The idea will be ready and waiting for you when you finish your first book. Keep your writing time manageable. If you're spending more than an hour a day writing, you may be burning yourself out. Most professional writers agree that spending too much time writing is both unhealthy and unproductive. Take plenty of breaks. I always write for 25 minutes at a time, followed by a 5-minute break. And if you can, try to get yourself outside during these breaks. The fresh air will do you a world of good. Checking email or Facebook is not a break. Set a reasonable writing goal and then meet it. When I wrote my last book, Your Happy First Draft, my goal was 500 words a day. Some days I felt like writing more. Other days I had to squeeze those 500 words out of myself. But I just showed up and met my goal every day, no matter how I felt. Writing isn't always easy and it isn't always fun. But if you give yourself a reasonable goal, you will be able to achieve it. You don't want to have to change horses midstream. See link below. And of course, you'll be able to get to your new book idea soon enough. Finally, let me wrap up with a quote from London-based therapist Rachel Anika. "Do not believe that you are needy, wrong, or not worthy of a stable relationship." Kimberly, I know the therapist is talking about relationships, but I believe her advice applies equally well to writing. Don't believe that your current book idea is bad simply because you've had another idea. We all get a little bit dejected in the messy middle. Finish what you've started before you move on to your next project. If you'd like to learn how to stop procrastinating and make writing a happier, more fulfilling process, take a look at my latest book, Your Happy First Draft. I don't sell it in bookstores or via Amazon. The only place to get it is my website, link below.